Morning, everybody. It's 8:40 on this Tuesday morning, um, April the 2nd, and this is your pre-opening comment. It is video number 2131. Okay, Europe is back online. Stocks are flat. Same situation in Asia, although they were open yesterday. There were several beats of manufacturing PMI in Europe overnight. And so, I expect that they're going to have the same problems that we have. Bonds are down after being down 1 and 30 seconds, or almost $2 yesterday, and jumping the 10-year by 12 basis points. Bonds are again down, and the 10-year has gained another 4 basis points. This is not good. It's clear. I mean, I don't know whether it's good or bad. It's obviously good for the economy, but it could do in all of the opportunities to have cuts. It's beginning to look like June is already pretty much off the table. And, that's what I've been saying all along. I don't see anything in the first half, and possibly only one later on in the year. Okay, yesterday we had earnings from PVH, the old Phillips Van Heusen. The stock had closed at 139 and change last night. It got down to 108 after the numbers. The numbers were not horrendous, but the guidance was. So, again, we had closed at 139.67, down 94 cents, and the stock traded down as low as 108.05. This morning, it has continued lower to 102.11, which from which it's bounced back a bit. Last is 108.67, and that is down still 22%. Last night it was down 23%. So a very small uh, bounce here. Uh, Tesla reports deliveries today. It's interesting uh, because the Chinese say that they're about flat, um, but that's in the face of a 33% increase in the sales of EVs in general. BYD obviously is the big gainer there. Their numbers look great. So, what this really boils down to is Tesla looking to be about unchanged, up a little, down a little, single digit percents for sure. But their participation in that market, the domination of that market, is slipping, and I'm not sure that that's really a problem for Tesla. They just raised prices again yesterday, and you really, it's apples to oranges when you compare the Tesla to the BYD or the Lee Motor um, offerings. And Rivian had news this morning on the amount that they uh, are going to be able to deliver. I think that the number is 57,000 for the year. That stock is 1093. That's down 16 cents. Another problem area: United giving, quote, unpaid leave to a bunch of their pilots because they're not going to be getting the planes that they expected from Boeing. And the issue there is that they're canceling flights because of a lack of capacity. UAL is down. Let me just see where they are because it was down yesterday also. Yeah, yesterday morning it had traded almost 49, currently trading barely 46. Now 46.69 now, down 66 cents. Delta, same issue, and it is down about 1.5%, 47.59, and it too was over 49 yesterday. So these things are getting hurt, but I don't think anybody more than JetBlue, who has an entire fleet of Boeing 737s. It's been hovering in this area with a high of about 7.75 and a low of about 6.5. Currently trading 704. That's down only a nickel today. But it too, in the last couple of days, has been as high as I said, about 7.5. I mentioned last night about Walgreens, and frankly, um, the stock was down sharply yesterday, and there didn't seem to be any news. What I didn't realize was the tremendous declines in healthcare based on Medicare, Medicaid payments. And so it was down, as I said, WBA. It was down yesterday 23%, down to a close of 1954, and it was down at 1954, down $2.15. This morning, it's up slightly, but when I say slightly, I mean we're talking minuscule compared to yesterday. Right now, it's up 6 cents at 1960. Other stocks that had the same kind of move yesterday, UNH finished the day down 5, which was just 1% for this $490 stock. But this morning it has gapped down again to a low of 465.81. The last is 468.75, and that's down $21 or 5%. There were a couple of others, but that's been the general gist of what's been going on. The chart on the screen is the oil. I pointed out last week. I pointed out in this week's letter. This consolidation above the breakout is one of the best formations I've ever seen. We came through the downtrend line, let's call it Thursday, and we have now moved in the last 4 days with higher highs and higher lows every day. We have moved from 80 and a half this morning. Right now we're trading at 84.96. We have traded over 85. 85.46 is the high, so I like that. The silver, I want to make mention of that, because we put on a position in the SLV, and it continued higher, which was a big disappointment to me. I was looking at it since it had been up so far and closed up on the day, but at the lower end of the range. I was hoping for a little bit of follow through, which we didn't get. The gold is up, the silver is up 67 cents. If we get back into this 25, what's this number? 25.97. If we get anywhere near that price, I'm going to buy some more. I'm going to average them down a little. Normally, I wouldn't do that, but the fact of the matter is, and I'll put out a video later, The fact of the matter is, when you look at this on a weekly basis and you see how this has performed at the highs, every time it's broken out and looked great, it's stopped on a dime. Uh, we have one, two, three, four, a solid four, possibly five highs in this 25, 25 and a quarter. Could this break out? Absolutely. But with the bonds being so soft, down almost 2 points last night and down another one today, these metals markets, especially the silver, because it's somewhat industrial, um, these markets really do not act well when the bonds go down because they strengthen the dollar. To give you an idea of how that works on a daily basis, let's just take a look here. Bonds down yesterday hard, bonds down again today. We are approaching the low here. 117.11 is the low back then. We are through that. We're trading at 117.11 now, but we've been 117, well, only 117.10, so we haven't really crushed through here. But the chart for the dollar is pretty much exactly the opposite of that. Just to give you a brief look, and more than anything else, when you're trading precious metals that don't pay any dividend or income, they tend to come in quite a bit when rates go higher, sending the dollar higher. This is the dollar. It looks a lot like the crude. I mentioned that last night, and we've come through to the upside. Yes, we are approaching the highs of 104.85, 104.87. Today's high so far 104.84. But we're above the line here, and again, um, silver generally does not act well. What does act well is the copper, because its strength on better economics send it higher. It's up 4 cents today. It came down to 3.99 and change late last week, but completely bounced back yesterday. Again, 4 days of higher highs, higher lows. Up here, from the low on Thursday of 396 and three quarters, we're 408. That's a fairly substantial move for copper, especially when you look at it in a little longer term and you see that it's been consolidating here between 360 and $4 for well over a year, and a series of higher lows in general. So there you have it, folks. Just to give you a last minute update, the 10-year is now 439. And so that's up 7 now. The S&P is due to open down 40. The Dow is looking like down 345, and the Nasdaq down 165. Okay, folks, if this downloads properly to YouTube, I will get you a silver chart video.